Mossdale Cave Incident. It was June 24th, 1967, and 10 cavers were about to explore Mossdale Cavern. There was 2 leaders. They have already explored cave, but others haven't. In cave, there was small space where people can't stand. After a few hours, 4 cavers realized how deep cave was, so they want back. When they get out, they saw clouds, but they don't care about it, so they waited here. A few hours later, cavers saw water in cave, so they wanted to get back, but they was so deep, so it was almost impossible. Cavers from outside was trying to get water from cave, but there was too much water, so all the cavers inside died. Jacob's Well Tragedy. It was November the 23rd, 1983, and 2 students from Texas State University named Richard and Clark are about to enter Jacob's Well, an underwater hole that leads to an underwater cave. This hole seems relatively shallow. This underway cave has 3 chambers. First 2 are safe, but when you swim to third one, you will see it's small. Also, you can see third chamber have small hole. It's 60 centimeters tall. 2 prior to guy died to this little hole because when they managed to get thought, a rock slide filled with gravel blocked them inside. Now back to our 2 students. They were fairly experienced in normal diving, but not in cave diving, and they were trying to get their instructor certification in open water. Diving, their instructor Don was an incredible skilled and experienced diver, and he was one who removed the 2 bodies we just talked about. He used to constantly warn everybody to stay away from Jacob's Well, since it's deadly, and he even tried to cover up the small hole that leads to 4th chamber with some cement. But other divers reopened it and left the message that said, "You can't keep us out." Don himself almost died in Jacob's Well. When he tried to enter 4th chamber, a gravel slide and trapped him in tunnel. He almost resigned himself to death. His tank was empty, and he had swallowed some water when his survival instinct kicked in and he started rapidly moving until he cleared enough gravel to escape. When he did, he saw his diving colleague extending a regulator for him to breathe as he started resurfacing. The air inside his body expanded until he reached almost 4 times his normal body size. The time he broke the surface, he was screaming in pain. His belly was huge because his stomach had completely ruptured. These stories caught the attention of Richard and Clark, who wanted to take a look for themselves, even they didn't really know much about cave diving. On November 23rd, 1983, they went into Jacob's Well and reached 3rd chamber where the small hole was located. Richard removed his tank to get through the hole and started going in while holding his tank. When Clark removed his own oxygen tank and tried to get in, he saw Richard's face and noticed Richard didn't have the tank with him anymore and was suffocating. Clark quickly reached for the regulator and gave it to him, letting him breathe again. They started passing the regulator back and forth as they made their way out, and somehow they managed to get through the tight squeeze of 3rd chamber, then began making their way toward the exit until a terrifying sound caught their attention, a clank from their oxygen. Not only did this mean they'd hit a wall of the tank, so they were going wrong direction, but it also meant the tank was almost empty. They run into the false chimney in the 1st chamber, a tunnel that looks like it leads to the surface, but is actually a dead end. Clark managed to swim back to the surface and gasped for air after a single breath. Unfortunately, the same can't be said for Richard, who remained behind and drowned when Clark called the police for assistance. Don, the instructor himself, showed up and was stunned to